Hello, everyone, and this is the Ballet Libretto. In this series, you are invited to come with me to explore the stories behind the world's most beloved ballets. This program is not only for ballet fans around the world, but also for people who love a good story. The ballet art form has a history that spans over 400 years, and at times it was political, but always evolving, always complex, and at the center of it, ballet was and still is about the human experience. Today, we are going to continue the countdown of the top 10 most popular ballets in the world. Ranked at number 9 is Coppelia. Coppelia is considered to be ballet's great comedy. However, the story behind the ballet is surprisingly grim. The ballet libretto was written by Charles Louis Etienne Nuité. He was born in Paris in April 1828, and at first he studied and practiced law, but he fell in love with theater and began writing librettos in the early 1850s. Eventually, he worked as a librarian and a writer. As a matter of fact, he was the official archivist for the Paris Opera. His work drastically changed the Paris Opera archives. He acquired around 900 opera librettos from a former director of the theater. He rescued documents from destruction, and he expanded the archives from 350 volumes of material to over 7,800 volumes. Coppelia was loosely based on a short story titled The Sandman, written by German writer E.T.A. Hoffmann. Hoffmann was a romantic writer of fantasy and horror. The story was first published in a volume of short stories titled Night Pieces that was published in 1816. The Sandman was a story told through letters. The first letter was written by a man named Nathaniel to his fiance's brother Lothar, explaining that when he was a child, he had a nightmare about the legendary Sandman, a character that often appears in European folktales that was said to steal the eyes of children who wouldn't go to bed. He snuck into his father's room to see the Sandman, but instead of seeing him, he saw Coppelius, a lawyer who does experiments, one of which led to the death of Nathaniel's father. Eventually, he suspects that Coppelius is the Sandman, and he seeks revenge for his father's death. Léo Delebes composed the music, and Arthur St. Leon choreographed the ballet. St. Leon was the ballet master of St. Petersburg Imperial Ballet, currently known today as the Mariinsky Theater, from 1859 to 1869. He choreographed 12 ballets, but only Coppelia survived. He moved to Paris, and his original plan was to choreograph Coppelia for his favorite ballerina, Adele Grandzow, but she got sick. So St. Leon, along with the director of the Académie Royale de Musique, Émile Perrin, was searching for a ballerina to play the lead female role, Swanhilda. They even asked Léo Delebes if he could help them find a ballerina to play the lead, but he couldn't find anyone. Eventually, they found another member of the Paris Opera Ballet, a 16-year-old named Giuseppina Bozzacchi. Not only was she the first ballerina to play Swanhilda, but Coppelia was her first lead role in a ballet ever. So now the next task was to find a dancer to play the male role, Franz. They hired Eugénie Fiocre to play Franz en travesti. As I mentioned in last week's episode, before the Romantic period, ballet was considered to be a man's profession, and the focus was on men. The Romantic period changed that and ushered in the cult of the ballerina. By the time Saint Leon started working on the ballet, there was a shortage of male ballet dancers, so they used ballerinas to play roles en travesti, which is an old theater term meaning a role that is played by the opposite sex, aka cross-dressing. Now here is where the story turns sad. I always say, give me bad news before the good news. The bad news is what happened in the year 1870. The good news is the ballet is a comedy. The ballet premiered at La Salle de Pelletier, home of the Paris Opera, on May 25, 1870. The Emperor of France at that time, Napoleon III, attended the premiere. In July, a dispute broke out between France and Prussia over the succession of the Spanish throne. The Kingdom of Prussia was located in modern-day Germany. On July 19th, France declared war against Prussia, which started the Franco-Prussian War, also known as the War of 1870. It lasted for approximately 6 months, but the cause of the war dated back to the Austro-Prussian War of 1866, when Otto, Prince of Bismarck in Prussia, wanted to unify the German states under one kingdom. In 1868, a revolution broke out in Spain that overthrew Queen Isabella II. Spain offered the crown to Leopold, the Prussian Prince of Hohenzollern. Otto von Bismarck supported the idea, but Napoleon opposed it because he didn't want Prussian influence to expand and encircle France, since Prussia was located to the north and Spain was located to the southwest of France. The Paris Opera remained open and performances of Coppelia continued until August 31st, when it was forced to shut down due to the war. 2 days later, on September 2nd, Saint Leon died. During the shutdown, the Paris Opera stopped paying salaries. As a result, Bosacchi, weakened by the lack of food, became sick. She contracted the smallpox and a fever and died on the morning of November 23rd, which happened to be her 17th birthday. The war ended on January 28, 1871, with Prussia as the victor. It led to Prussia being unified and the end of imperial rule in France, as well as the beginning of a democratic government. It also led to Prussia annexing the Alsace-Lorraine region, which is now located in France. Eventually, the Paris Opera reopened, and Coppelia became its most performed ballet. The ballet made Saint Leon famous. He decided to go with a happy ending as opposed to the tragic endings of ballets that preceded Coppelia. That's what makes Coppelia a comedy. Since the Elizabethan era, a tragedy was a story that ended in death, whereas a comedy was a light-hearted story that ended in marriage. Another change Saint Leon made was in Act 1, he incorporated national dances, specifically the Hungarian dance Czardas and the Polish dance Mazurka. George Balanchine, the former ballet master of the New York City Ballet, wrote in his book, The 101 Stories of the Great Ballets, about his experience in reviving the ballet Coppelia. He wrote, "In 1974, I decided that we should stage Coppelia at the New York City Ballet and asked the ballerina and teacher Alexandra Danilova, celebrated for many years for her Swanhilda, to collaborate with me on the choreography. The ballet was first presented by the company on July 17th, 1974, at the Saratoga Performing Arts Center, the New York City Ballet's summer home at Saratoga Springs, New York. Coppelia was first danced, of course, in France. It was introduced in Russia in 1884 with Marius Petipa's own version of Saint Leon's original choreography. I remember very well performances by the Russian Imperial Ballet of Coppelia, and as a member of the company danced in the mazurka. It is said that the Zarzdas and the mazurka were first introduced into ballet in Coppelia, and from then on, divertissement, based on national and folk dances, became very popular in ballet. I have often said that Deleuze is one of my favorite composers for dance. In our new Coppelia, we use the entire score of the three-act version. The first dance drama, of really uniform excellence, deserves no less. No part of the ballet is subordinate to any other. Most important of all, ballet music in Coppelia participates in the dance drama as never before. Deleuze's charming, melodic music assisting the plot and unifying the music and dance. As we know, Tchaikovsky was directly inspired by Deleuze's score to write his own ballet music. Deleuze is the first great ballet composer. Tchaikovsky and Stravinsky are his successors. And now the good news. The story of Coppelia, which is enchanting and romantic and lighthearted. In a small village lives an old inventor named Dr. Coppelius and his daughter Coppelia. Every day the girl sits on her balcony reading a book, but she never says a thing. Even the friendliest girl in town, Swanhilda, can't get Coppelia to talk. One day, Swanhilda goes looking for her boyfriend Franz and finds him gazing up at Coppelia and blowing kisses to her. Swanhilda runs away in tears. That night, Dr. Coppelius goes for his evening walk. He loses his house key. Swanhilda picks up the key and convinces her girlfriends that they should go up and try to meet Coppelia face to face. As they make their plans, Franz sneaks up to Coppelia's balcony using a ladder. When the girls tiptoe into the doctor's workshop, they see dolls and doll-making equipment everywhere. And there is Coppelia, behind a curtain, sitting in her usual chair, reading a book. Swanhilda begins to laugh. She now understands why the inventor's daughter never answers her. Coppelia is a doll. The girls wind up the dolls and watch them dance, but Dr. Coppelius arrives and shoos them out. Swanhilda stays behind Coppelia's curtain. Franz climbs in through the window, and when he sees the inventor, he explains that he wishes to marry his daughter. Dr. Coppelius asks Franz to have a drink with him and slips a potion into Franz's cup that makes him fall fast asleep. While Franz sleeps, Dr. Coppelius looks in his books of spells for the one that will bring Coppelia to life. He follows some instructions, and to his amazement, Coppelia begins to move. What he does not realize is, this is really Swanhilda wearing Coppelia's dress. One by one, Swanhilda winds up all the dolls in the workshop. When the doctor is completely distracted, she pulls Franz towards the door and they run out of the house. It is only then that Dr. Coppelius pulls back the curtains and sees the limp body of Coppelia, who never came to life after all. The next day, Swanhilda and Franz celebrate their wedding. Dr. Coppelius appears carrying the broken Coppelia and demands to be paid for the damage to his workshop. Swanhilda apologizes and offers Dr. Coppelius her dowry, but the lord of the manor motions her away and offers the toy maker a bag of gold. Dr. Coppelius accepts and returns to his workshop vowing to keep trying to bring his dolls to life. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Me personally, I've never seen Coppelia live in a theater, but hopefully in the future I'll be able to buy tickets to see Coppelia. Looking forward to it. I am doing this series in celebration of a new ballet that will premiere in New York City in April 2022 titled The Prince of Barakova. The Prince of Barakova is a romantic ballet that will be danced to rock music instead of classical music. It tells the story of a prince who takes a trip around the world during the season of Lent looking for his soulmate. If you would like to make a donation towards the production of the ballet, the Kickstarter campaign will begin on October 3rd, 2021, where you can donate as little as $5. If you would like to purchase the Ballet Libretto, my book, The Journal of a Ballet Librettist, will be available on Amazon Monday, November 15th, 2021. I want to send a big thank you to my subscribers for liking my videos, for commenting on my videos, and if you are new to this channel, go ahead and click the subscribe button below. Click like and share. Thanks for watching, and see you next time right here on the Nightglow Entertainment channel here on YouTube.